Imagine waking up inside a mysterious prison where hundreds of people are stacked on top of each other in vertical cells. Every day, a single platform full of food starts at the top level and slowly moves down, stopping for just a few minutes on every floor. The people at the top can eat as much as they want, but by the time the platform reaches the lower levels, there might be nothing left. This is the terrifying system inside the prison of the platform. The story begins when a man named Goring suddenly wakes up inside a strange concrete room. The room has two beds, a small sink, a toilet, and a huge rectangular hole in the middle of the floor and ceiling. Through this hole, he can see endless levels both above and below him. Confused and scared, Goring soon meets his cellmate, an older man named Trimagasi. Unlike Goring, Trimagasi seems completely calm, as if he has been here for a long time. Goring immediately begins asking questions. What is this place? Why are they here? And most importantly, how do they survive? Trimagasi slowly explains the horrifying truth. This prison is called the Vertical Self-Management Center. Every month, prisoners are randomly moved to a different floor. One month, you might wake up on a high level where food is still plentiful. But the next month, you could be placed hundreds of levels below, where survival becomes almost impossible. Every day, a giant platform filled with luxurious meals starts from the top floor and slowly descends through every level of the prison. The people at the top eat first. Then whatever remains goes down to the next level, and then the next, and the next, until finally the platform reaches the lowest levels where desperate prisoners fight for whatever tiny scraps are left. Goring is shocked by this cruel system. At first, he believes that if everyone simply ate only what they needed, there would be enough food for everyone. But Trimagasi laughs at this idea. Because in this prison, people don't think about the ones below them. They only care about surviving themselves. And Goring is about to learn just how brutal life inside this vertical prison can become. The next morning inside the platform, Goring wakes up to a strange mechanical sound echoing through the concrete walls. Trimagasi calmly looks toward the huge hole in the center of the room and says something that makes Goring even more confused. The platform is coming. A few seconds later, a massive floating table slowly descends from the level above them. The platform is covered with dozens of plates filled with luxurious food steaks, fruits, cakes, and every kind of expensive meal imaginable. But the shocking part isn't the food itself. It's the condition it's in. By the time the platform reaches their level, the food is already half-eaten. Plates are messy, drinks are spilled, and many dishes are completely destroyed. The prisoners above them clearly ate as much as they could without caring about anyone below. Trimagasi immediately rushes toward the platform and starts eating aggressively, stuffing food into his mouth as quickly as possible before the platform continues moving downward. Goring watches in disbelief. He can't understand why Trimagasi is eating so desperately. From what he sees, there's still plenty of food left on the platform. But Trimagasi warns him not to hesitate, because the platform only stays on each floor for a couple of minutes. Once it moves down, there is no more food for the rest of the day. Still trying to remain civilized, Goring slowly eats a small portion of food and refuses to touch anything else. He believes that if everyone only takes what they need, then the people below will also get enough food. But Trimagasi laughs again. He explains that the people above probably had the same idea at first. But once someone wakes up on a higher level with unlimited food in front of them, greed always wins. And the lower you go in this prison, the more terrifying things become. To prove his point, Trimagasi tells Goring to look down through the hole. Far below them, on the lower levels, prisoners are already screaming and fighting over the tiny leftovers that reach them. Some of them are so desperate that they begin licking the dirty plates just to survive. At that moment, Goring finally realizes the horrifying truth. This prison is not just testing people's survival. It's testing how far humans will go when resources become limited. And the deeper you fall inside this vertical prison, the darker humanity becomes. Days pass inside the brutal prison of the platform, and Goring slowly begins to understand how cruel the system really is. Every day the platform arrives, and every day the same pattern repeats itself. The prisoners on the upper floors eat as much as they want without thinking about anyone below them. By the time the platform continues descending, the food becomes messier, smaller, and sometimes completely destroyed. But the most terrifying part of the system is something Goring learns at the end of the month. One morning, he suddenly wakes up feeling dizzy, When he looks around, he realizes that he and Trimagasi are no longer on the same floor. The prison has moved them. Every month, all prisoners are randomly relocated to different levels of the tower. Sometimes you wake up on a higher level with plenty of food, but other times you can end up hundreds of floors below where almost nothing reaches you. This time, Goring wakes up on a much lower level than before, and the difference is horrifying. When the platform finally reaches their floor, there is almost nothing left to eat. Only crumbs, broken plates, and tiny scraps of food remain. The prisoners above clearly devoured everything long before it reached them. For the first time, Goring experiences what life is like for the people trapped near the bottom of the prison: starvation. As the days pass, the lack of food begins driving prisoners insane. Desperation spreads throughout the levels, and people start doing things they would never imagine outside this place. Seeing Goring struggle with hunger, Trimagasi calmly reveals something even darker about the prison. When there is no food left, prisoners sometimes turn to the only thing available: each other. Goring is horrified by the idea, refusing to believe that anyone could become that desperate. But Trimagasi has already survived in this prison for months, and he knows exactly what people are capable of when survival becomes the only thing that matters. Meanwhile, the platform continues descending every day, carrying the leftovers of the upper floors to the desperate prisoners below. And with each passing day, Goring realizes that this prison is slowly turning people into something far worse than monsters. Time continues passing inside the brutal prison of the platform, and the harsh system slowly begins to break Goring mentally and physically. After surviving the horrifying situation with Trimagasi, Goring is eventually moved to a new floor when the next month begins. This time, his new cellmate is a woman named Imogiri. Unlike most prisoners, she seems calm, intelligent, and surprisingly hopeful. Soon, Goring learns something shocking about her. She used to work for the administration that runs this prison. Imogiri explains that she voluntarily entered the facility because she believed the system could be improved from the inside. She thought that if prisoners simply controlled themselves and ate only what they needed, there would be enough food for everyone in the tower. Every day when the platform arrives, she tries to convince the prisoners on the lower levels to eat responsibly. She politely tells them to only take their share so the people below them can survive as well. But no one listens. The prisoners below them laugh at her, insult her, and threaten her. Some of them even spit on the food just to ruin it for others. Day after day, her hope slowly begins to fade. Goring watches as Imogiri realizes the painful truth: this prison system is not failing because of the design alone, but because of human greed. Meanwhile, something even stranger continues happening in the prison. Occasionally, the mysterious woman Miharu appears again, riding the platform between levels while desperately searching for her missing child. She moves violently through different floors, attacking anyone who tries to stop her. Her presence makes the prison even more chaotic and unpredictable. But as Goring spends more time thinking about the platform system, he begins forming a dangerous plan. Instead of simply hoping that people will share the food, what if someone forced the platform to reach the lower levels with enough food for everyone? It sounds impossible, but Goring is slowly starting to believe that the only way to change the system is to challenge it directly. After waking up on a new level inside the platform, Goring meets his new cellmate, Baharat. Unlike most prisoners who have already lost hope, Baharat still believes there might be a way to escape the vertical prison. Every day, Baharat tries to climb upward using a rope, hoping someone from the upper levels will help pull him out. But each time he almost reaches the next floor, the prisoners above betray him and drop him back down. This cruel cycle proves one thing: no one in the prison cares about helping others. Seeing this, Goring realizes something important. Escaping alone may be impossible, but maybe they can still change the system inside the prison. Soon, the two men come up with a bold and dangerous plan. Instead of simply waiting for the platform to arrive like everyone else, they decide to ride the platform downward through every level of the tower. Their goal is to protect the food and make sure it reaches the lower floors without being completely destroyed by the prisoners above. The next day, when the platform finally arrives, Goring and Baharat jump onto it. As the platform slowly descends to the next level, the prisoners waiting there are shocked to see them standing on the table. When the hungry prisoners try to grab the food, Goring and Baharat immediately stop them. They explain their plan. Everyone must only take their fair portion so that the platform can continue downward with enough food for the people below. But most prisoners refuse to listen. A violent fight quickly breaks out as the desperate prisoners attack them to grab the food. Using force, Goring and Baharat manage to push them back and protect the remaining meals on the platform. Level after level, the platform continues descending. At every floor, they face more prisoners who are starving and angry. Some agree to follow the rules, but many others fight them for control of the food. The journey downward becomes more dangerous with every level they pass. But despite the violence and chaos, Goring and Baharat keep protecting the food as the platform travels deeper into the prison. Because for the first time, someone is finally trying to make sure the people on the lowest floors are not forgotten. Riding the descending platform inside the platform, Goring and Baharat continue their dangerous mission through the tower. Floor after floor, they protect the food from desperate prisoners who try to take everything for themselves. At some levels, people listen to them and only take small portions. But on many other floors, prisoners attack them violently, trying to steal the food. Goring and Baharat are forced to fight again and again, just to keep the platform moving downward with enough meals left for the lower levels. As the platform travels deeper into the prison, the situation becomes even more disturbing. The lower the platform goes, the darker and more hopeless the levels become. Many prisoners are already starving, weak, and barely able to move. Some floors are so empty that it seems like the prisoners there didn't survive long enough to see the next day. But Goring and Baharat keep going. They believe that if they can send a message back to the administration, maybe the people running the prison will realize that the system is broken. Eventually, they notice something unusual on the platform. Among all the plates of food, there is a perfect dessert that no one has touched yet, a small panna cotta. Goring suddenly realizes something important. Instead of just sending empty plates back up, they could send this untouched dessert as a message to the administration. If the people running the prison see that the prisoners were able to leave one dish untouched, it might prove that cooperation inside the tower is possible. So they decide to protect the panna cotta and make sure it reaches the bottom of the prison without being eaten. As the platform continues descending toward the lowest levels, Goring and Baharat fight harder than ever to protect that final plate. But when they finally reach the deepest parts of the tower, they discover something they never expected. In one of the lowest levels, hidden in the darkness, they find a small child, a child who somehow survived inside the prison. And at that moment, Goring realizes something shocking. The real message to the world above might not be the dessert at all. As the platform reaches the deepest levels of the prison in the platform, Goring and Baharat are completely exhausted. After fighting their way through dozens of floors, their bodies are covered with injuries and they can barely stand. But when they finally reach one of the lowest levels, they discover something that completely shocks them. Inside the dark room, they find a small child, a young girl sitting quietly in the corner, somehow surviving in the most brutal place inside the entire prison. The discovery immediately changes everything Goring believed about the system. Earlier, he thought the untouched panna cotta dessert would be the perfect message to send back to the administration. But now he realizes something much more powerful. The real message isn't food, it's the child. If a child exists inside this prison, it means the system is even more broken than anyone imagined. No innocent person should ever be trapped in a place like this. Goring and Baharat quickly decide that the girl must escape. When the platform begins moving upward again, they place the child safely on top of it. The platform slowly starts rising through the tower, carrying the girl toward the upper levels, and hopefully toward the outside world. But Goring knows he cannot leave with her. After everything he has been through, he realizes that his role in the mission is already complete. As the platform disappears into the darkness above, Goring stays behind in the lowest level of the prison. Slowly, he begins walking deeper into the shadows, accepting his fate. Meanwhile, the platform continues rising through the tower, carrying the child as the final message to the world above. A message that proves one simple truth: the system inside the prison has completely failed. And sometimes the most powerful message is not something you say, it's something you show.